In December 2025, the new Avatar movie will be released, of which there is now a 2.5-minute trailer for the first time, which could also announce a new gaming title, because despite what voices say, I never felt like I was in another world with the Avatar movies, or was amazed by the computer graphics. I avoid the word realistic here because everything always and everywhere looked like a computer game, quasi the most expensive game of all time, with the lowest running time for a AAA title and without interaction seen that way. In the overall context, this was okay with the first film, because since people always merged into an avatar, that is, a character they control, like in a computer game, the Blue Nature Tribe was for me the virtual reality world in which a player dived in, similar to films like Lawnmower Man. This can look artificial, and it does. I don't know why the CGI is so praised, it all looks like an animated movie. And that should be the least for an animated film, especially if it has a budget of 250 million. The rest you see in the trailer scares me more because it's utterly boring. Well, I was never a fan of the series and barely made it to the end with the first one, and I could only stand the second one playing it faster. Out of sheer senselessness and above all, complete duplication of the first film, only in a different setting. I'm afraid of the same thing here. Again, exorbitant running time, and now it's with fire, after earth and the water. And when there will be air, then you seriously ask yourself if someone hasn't seen too much Avatar: The Last Airbender, and if this will continue to be such a complete mishmash in which your own world always feels so arbitrary and simply things are inappropriately expanded in every movie. So if you take the first part and then say, in addition to the tree people, there are also other guys in the water and so on, as if all this were actually one world, then you wonder how it can be that they were never seen before and that they didn't fight in the first part, when an alien civilization wanted to exploit and destroy their own planet. That doesn't fit in itself. And I looked it up again. Yes, it's all set on the same planet. They are not different. They're the same. But I hope at least fans of the series will get more than the rehash of the predecessors, only this time with the Fire Nation. But if you think of The Last Airbender, then it could also be that the the Fire People are the bad guys who want everything for themselves. In both cases, it wouldn't be a surprise, and since none of the movies are surprising anyway, only being an iteration of Pocahontas meets the deformed space Smurfs without hats in cyberspace, I'll have to predict that unfortunately for 250 million no one managed to tell an interesting story this time again, or was able to introduce just a single twist that surprises. The first Avatar actually has the great merit of getting cinemas to going completely digital due to the new 3D technology. This still benefits independent filmmakers today, who can now show their films in any cinema without expensive film prints and purely digitally. That is, without wear and tear or horrendous film copy costs. This influence is exorbitant and must be emphasized, and I thank the film for that. The 3D trend, on the other hand, is the same as it has always been, a gimmick that is simply more expensive, and at some point you will get a headache or the glasses are just annoying. If you have the choice, I'll always watch without 3D. After all, this is pure effect cinema. It never looks realistic, and therefore what you get and what you pay is quite questionable. Somehow, Avatar is also always typical blockbuster cinema. When the movie is over, it has already disappeared from your mind. Real enthusiasm looks different. At least that's my opinion. Although it's actually even stronger, because the boring plot and the artificial world meet up with the stupid ideas like the cloning of the villain from the first part to use him as a villain in the second one as well. That's unimaginativeness of the worst kind, and an impudence towards every screenwriter, especially because this raises just as many questions. Not only why they hadn't found a better solution for the $460 million of the second part, but also who is so dull to engage the commander who had previously ruined everything. The expected outcome is that he messes it up again. And with the second, the first film is simply ruined by exposition dump, by blowing up the sacred tree after some minutes, and thus everything that had been told for hours before is reduced to absurdity. Well, you can see that I have my real well-founded problems with the series. But above all, I can't understand the alleged visual power because it's simply an animated film with a few real faces here and there. All in all, I don't expect anything from this part and hope that at some point the moment will be found where they leave the series and that it won't be run to death like Terminator once was. That in the end, a success story will only become $1 million grave. Besides this, the trailer doesn't look very thrilling, emotional, or interesting to me that it will drag me into a cinema. What do you think? Are you looking forward for the new film, or is Avatar no longer a guarantee to attract people to the cinema?